Hello and how are you, Toy Sports lovers out there? My name is Robbie Gillette and welcome to conversation number 27 of the Keeping It Real with Robbie podcast, where we chat all things from the mental side of sport to stories, laughs and banter. Whether it's the old pigskin or the old of the bull, we've got you. Today I'm joined by Ike Tigers captain and legend Liam Greenhalgh, and damn, I thoroughly enjoyed my chat as we explored the 2021 Ike Tigers Varsity Cup campaign in detail, from tambourines and songs to finals, his why as well as the future, and everything in between. I hope you guys enjoy it, and as always, let me know what you guys think. Happy days, and I'll tell you why they're happy days, because I'm joined by Ike's leader and legend, Liam Greenhalgh, aka Quadzilla. Cappy, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. There's a lot to get through, which I'm very excited to get through. But before we get through it, I think I know what you're thinking. Robbie, where's that phenomenal cap and hoodie from? And it's from a local clothing brand called Living Positively Apparel, who started up now recently. I'll put their Instagram at somewhere up on the screen there. So go check it out, guys, listening and watching. And we can, support a local clothing brand. Liam, as I said, lots to get through, and I really am excited to get through it. But I know you're a busy man, and you mentioned that you were off to Scotland. I saw you were selling your car on Facebook and everything, so it's pretty official. Why are you off, and when? When are you leaving us?
How's it, Robbie? Just firstly, thanks for having me on the show. You've been doing some nice things with us. I think you're a year old and you're doing some great things, so well done. I'm busy off to Scotland. I'm doing a master's in sustainable development. I'm kind of considered a professional student, so I'm moving elsewhere. I'm going to the UK on a rugby scholarship with, I think, 3 other UCT oaks. Excited to go, leaving on Saturday.
Wow.
For a year in Scotland, it's going to be really nice.
Damn, and what's the plan after that? Is it to stay there or definitely come back or what?
Geez, not too sure. I just know there's a lot of opportunities there. I look on Instagram, every second oak's on their way to the UK now. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that side. Work-wise, rugby-wise, I'm pretty open. So I'm just going to enjoy the year and see where it takes me afterwards.
Okay, cool. No, that's really exciting. And I was saying earlier that I try to get you on the day before the Varsity Cup final because I got my dates wrong. And I was saying, I think it's probably a good thing that I didn't get you on the day before, just because now we can maybe take a deeper dive into, the whole campaign. And now that the dust is settled, I guess, I think where it would be only fitting to start is right at the beginning with you guys. And when did the whole Varsity Cup campaign start for you guys? And how did you navigate the space around preseason and COVID?
Yes, Robbie, when did it start? Well, with the pandemic and how the last Varsity Cup got abruptly stopped. It kind of felt like it never did stop for us. As soon as the pandemic and the lockdown happened, we were already in meetings. We were meeting once a week as a team. And so if you want to be official about this year's Varsity Cup, I think we started gymming around October, but we had meetings as a team for months in advance to that. And we were playing touch rugby in Hamilton's, and it was a bit of a mess, but we were always engaging at least on Zoom. Once a week from September.
And were the guys into that, or was it a bit did you have to get quite a bit of or have to do quite a bit of convincing to get a buy-in from the guys?
Well, as you imagine, COVID, we didn't really have a lot of options. It was kind of Zoom or get COVID when you see each other. So I think boys with the hunger to actually win, and we left on a good note when we stopped last year's Varsity Cup. I think there was immediate buy-in from the get-go. Gents were even the guys who were literate with computers like myself were up and about, keen on Zoom, getting involved. So it didn't take a lot to get the Oaks motivated to take part.
Yeah, I know. I also Zoom has been part of my life now. But I've watched quite a few of Tom, UCT coach, for you guys that don't know, has a podcast as well, Leadership One, and he speaks quite often about deepening connections and how important those things are. How important were, the 2 things that instantly come to mind were the song you guys released on YouTube, and then the tambourine, which got quite a bit of attention during Varsity Cup. How important were those things in terms of deepening those connections, especially having to do, Zoom, preseason on Zoom for the first, however many months?
Robbie, it was tough, eh? Tom's actually been my coach. Well, he coached me in first year back in 2016, so we've known each other for long. And ever since back then, he's had two main things as to why he plays the game of rugby and why he coaches it. And the first is to win, and the second is to social and to social well. And considering the pandemic,
Social
he
well.
couldn't have any social. You know, you have to social well. It's like his bread and butter. And with the pandemic, obviously we couldn't do that. We had one social. I think it was early in the preseason, like in September. We went to the Mowbray Bowling Club, or the Bowls Club, and we had our first social, and then we had like 10 COVID positive cases after that. So like we were learning on the go, and like a bit of panic here and there. So like we had to sacrifice the socializing quite a bit, and it was really tough. But I believe, and Tom also believes, I think a lot of people believe that if you are like super tight off the field, it'll directly relate to how you play on the field. Like it doesn't matter if you have good players or bad players. If you're tight off the field, like it directly responds to how you play on the field. So yeah, I think we did quite well in that respect, adapting to Zoom, and still getting in touch with each other. Like Tom has his ways, genius ways of getting competitive and chatting to each other, even if it's about little things. So yeah, we did quite well, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you don't mind sharing just the anecdotes around the tambourine and the song, why those two things?
Well, to start with the song, back in 2008, UCT wanted to like improve their culture and give something to like, I don't know, just enhance it. So they organized at the music faculty in UCT for someone to write UCT a song, or the UCT Rugby Club a song, and they wrote one called Warrior Poet, and the words were quite lekker, and Oak actually bought into it, and then they made it a thing where they sung it after every win over the years. And even when I came into 2016, it was the first thing you learn when you play for the young guys, the under 20 side. You learn the Warrior Poet words. Tom forced us to learn it in the preseason in the young guns, and if you didn't know it, you went stuck. So, so I know the song really well, but it was a bit, how can I say? It was like rock and roll themed, or like, I don't know, like it wasn't really inclusive. So Tom thought this year to add to our culture and get everything all inclusive, get everyone buying into our song, especially the new guys. He decided to record a new version of the song, just the players singing, which was pretty sick. It was a sick experience for Oaks. I don't know how like recording music works. And it actually shows that we have a bit of talent in the team, because Oaks can sing really well. So we recorded a new version of the song. We inserted a monologue in the beginning that includes like 3 different languages. Ash and Adams added a rap in the middle. So like it's very flavoursome, and Oaks brought into it nicely. We sang it a lot this year. And we also made a music video. It's on YouTube. So Oaks, let's go check that out.
Shout out. Shameless plug.
Nice plug. And then with the tambourine, one of the management thought it would be a really good idea to discuss with each other at the preseason camp in Oman. It's like why we play the game. Like it's so important to clarify, like for everyone, like why do you actually play the game? Just have some more meaning to motivate you to do all the little things, all the hard graft, and it'll take you towards the end of the comp, which I thought it did. So in the preseason camp in Oman, we all sat in a circle, and we sat in little groups of like 5 to 6 Oaks, and we wrote down on a piece of paper like the main reasons why we play. It was like, it wasn't that long. It was just short and sweet. 2 reasons why you play. For me, it was like in memory of my dad, because he taught me everything about rugby, and also just like the socializing part of it. Like it's amazing for me to play the game. So I wrote that on a piece of paper, put in the tambourine, and everyone did the same. And then everyone like voiced it as well. So everyone knew exactly why people played, and it was like a general understanding of the big why we play the game. And then I have the tambourine here.
Hey, let's go. We learned any beats.
No, whatsoever. After the dance, I have no rhythm. We put in the tambourine, we closed it up, we put in the tambourine to symbolize togetherness, and obviously our whole theme around music for the past 2 years. So it really just worked nicely. And then I just ran off the field, and we took it wherever we went, just to never forget why we actually play the game. And like it motivated us in the really dark times. You have to wake up for 5 a.m. gym session, and when you have to do late night analysis on a rugby game and stuff. So yeah, it was quite meaningful and lekker.
And then why was it always the plan to have a tambourine? And then also, like, was it always the plan for you to walk on with it, or was that just something you were like, well, no one else walks on with the tambourine, I'm gonna walk on with the tambourine, you know, like?
No, I think the management, they they agreed on the general idea of writing it on a piece of paper and storing it somewhere. But I think it's a flippant old tambourine. So I think one of the coaches just came up with it, and it's got like cardboard on the bottom because obviously it's just one side, it's got the skin. So they put cardboard on the one side and put tape here to stop the little notes from coming out. And then, the tambourine just stuck and it's nice and makes a noise. To run onto the field, we didn't really discuss it. It kind of just happened. Like someone gave me the tambourine in the first game, and then I just ran onto every game with it, and I thought it was a nice symbolism, and it's quite special and different, and that's what we wanted to bring to the competition.
Yeah, and so are the notes in there? Were the notes in the tambourine when you walked on?
Yeah, they're all here.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool.
You can still see it.
And then when you walked on with it, then was it just like quickly walk off and put it down, or did you have someone just to give it to me like, let's make this all
It was a bit awkward. Couldn't play with this. I was destroyed. And also couldn't throw because of breaks. So I just called one of the boys to come fetch it after we had a huddle.
Okay, like
and then
admin. What would you say was different to this Varsity Cup that you guys were successful, and you guys were pretty successful in the last one where it just got stopped? What do you think was different in the build-up between these two than the other ones where you guys previously maybe weren't as successful that you played in?
It's hard to think about. Like, I really think there's a lot of reasons, but the first that come to mind is just the personnel that made up the team and made up the management. And I think Tom was the spearhead for everything. Like, he's the one that he got everyone for the management. Like, he selected the coaches and he got the right sports and conditioning coaches in, and then he also obviously picked the right players in the squads. And then he just got the coaches so tight that it actually influenced the players to also be tight and competitive with one another. And like, everything just influenced each other, and it just turned out amazing. Like, that's it's hard to put into words. Like, actually, so definitely the personnel is definitely the biggest change within the past 2 years, because we got a new coach. Tom he's been our coach for the past 2 years. And then I think also certain players left and certain players came in, and the players that came in were just unreal. Like, they have the right amount of experience, and also the youngsters that came in were just perfect and confident, and everyone just complimented each other. It was kind of weird. Like, guys weren't used to winning so much. It's not really an UCT culture, and like the new guys that came in and the youngsters that came in brought that confidence that it was just like it was normal to win, which is really cool and different.
Yeah, you guys did really look really confident, but I also wanted to pick up on that what you said about like certain guys leaving, certain guys staying. Varsity Cup's quite a interesting competition, because like some guys are there to play Varsity Cup, and then next year will most likely be in the Curry Cup, or some guys are genuinely just there to and have a bit of fun. So how do you like, because you're also not getting paid. You played on TV, but you're not getting paid. It's not a professional, it is professional, but it's not a professional setup in the traditional sense. Like, how do you manage to bridge that gap as like a management and a leadership group between guys who are like, I'm here just to like have a bit of fun, play rugby, get fit, and guys like I'm going to play for the Box in 2 years, for instance?
Yeah, that's definitely challenged across the board of Varsity Cup. There's such a wide range of different types of players and from different backgrounds and have different places they want to end up. And I think that's also another reason why we've done so well over the past 2 years, because Tom's brought in that connectiveness where we all just connect and make us, helps us believe in one thing. So like, we have guys that are playing professional at the moment. We have guys, the Bulls, the Cheetahs, someone played for Province the other day. So like, guys, it's a great platform for guys to play professional. And then, like you said, guys that just want to have fun, guys that have come up from the NATOs and play Varsity Cup rugby, and just keep that going. Like, it just caters for everyone. And like, everyone has a mutual respect for wherever everyone wants to be and where they come from. So I think that mutual understanding of everyone's why, like, links up, and it just produces a great like synergy.
What would you say your why is?
My why? my why is definitely
If you're willing to share, if you're not, that's completely fine.
yeah. It's the main one's because of my dad. Like he, ever since I could walk and catch a ball, he would teach me how to play. And he taught me everything I knew. He coached me when I was young and everything. So like every time I play rugby, like it makes you so happy because I think of him, and it's like a link to him all the time whenever I play. And I always just want to make him proud and that sort of thing. Pretty emotional, but that's definitely one of the biggest ones. And then the second one is just like the friends you make when you get on a rugby field. It doesn't matter who you are, but like as soon as you chuck a pillow around together, like you connect. And also like the friendships last forever. Like I've made friends now that I'm gonna invite over to my wedding and stuff. So like that's obviously the second reason.
And you say, like you feel a link to your old man when you're playing. Is that going to maybe motivate you to take it further? After the Varsity Cup campaign that I watched with you, I told guys like I wouldn't be surprised if Liam gets a professional contract. And if that comes about, like is it something you really want to like grab with both hands?
A lot of people ask me that, but like I've never played provincial in my life. Like I've been to a few trials in under 13 and under 16, but I was injured for every other trial. So I've never played provincial. I've never had an agent or anything like that. I've been approached by like one or two people post Varsity Cup, but like I don't really have that drive. Like for me, the goal is always to use rugby as like an instrument to study. It's done that, and it's served its purpose, and it's getting towards the end of that purpose now, especially after this Masters. I actually do have a dream to play for Spain one day, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I'm obviously half Spanish. My mom's from Barcelona, so I have a passport.
That helps.
And yeah, and then a guy called Richie Stewart, who was in the 2014 Aki Tiger side that won. He went to Bishops, and he had a UK passport, went to Spain, played club rugby for 3 years, and now he's qualified to play for the national team, and he's been playing for them, which for me is like pretty unreal. Like there's not a lot of money in it, but just to say that you played international rugby and you need to play for Spain, like it's not as hectic as the boxing and stuff. So like it's quite realistic in my mind. So that would be pretty cool. That's the hectic dream. I have no idea how I'm gonna get there though.
Yeah, and I mean like hypothetically, if Province approached you and said we need a 6, and then we think you could take it further to the box, is that something you would be interested in, or would it be like a hard no?
Yeah, it's definitely not a hard yes. Like for me, I value my career definitely more than my rugby. My rugby is more from a personal enjoyment point of view. Like I enjoy pushing my body and my mind and being as professional as I can. And I think Varsity Cup's given me a tiny little taste of professionalism. But to do it every day, I think will be quite tough. Like I have a lot of respect to professional players out there that do it every single day for years on end. Like my body's not feeling young at the moment, I'll be honest. Especially after like Houston bubble, playing 3 games in a week was tough. So like massive respect to professional players. I don't know if I can do it, but I don't like putting limits on myself. So I definitely would like to try it one day.
Okay, cool. Sure, that's quite interesting. And you mentioned the bubble now, and from what I observed in the Varsity Cup, and I watched, bear in mind, I probably watched UCT and Marty's only, but from what I saw, I thought the level of rugby was like ridiculously, like so good compared to previous years. And I think, what the first thing that came to my mind was that, it's because of the bubbles, like you go into 3 bubbles, you play 3 games in a week, and then you exit the bubble and you can kind of have time to go back and look and be like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do, is do a lot of analysis and fixing. Is that a fair assessment, or am I pretty far off there?
In terms of us being much better in the bubble compared to previous
years? The quality of rugby being better this year than previous years because of the bubbles and being able to look back and prep.
Yeah, I think so. Like, although some may look at it as a disadvantage because you're playing such a short space of time. So in terms of recovery, player management, and analysis, it's like quite rushed. But I think for students and the coaches, it was quite intense, but in a good way. So I think it definitely did enhance the quality of rugby. Like we are in the bubble, and the only thing you can do is either prep for rugby or study. and a lot of gents don't want to study.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rugby prep happening. So in the bubble, everyone was like doing video analysis. I don't think there was a single oak that didn't have a laptop out, looking at the opposition, looking at how they played. And there was a lot of rugby chat at breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, oaks were just constantly getting better. It doesn't matter if it was within the space of 2 days. Like, we kept on improving game by game. So, yeah, I think the bubble definitely had a good advantage in that regard. And also the fact that there was no boozing throughout the campaign definitely helped. It must have helped.
Yeah,
Because obviously we weren't allowed boozing in the bubble. So like Oak's bodies were looking at goodness.
Was there a lot of boozing after the final?
Yeah, but like kind of like drowning your sorrows as expected.
Yeah.
So like we definitely didn't go as big as if we got the W. Can definitely say that.
Yeah, fair enough. And how did you cope with all the like being in a bubble, doing your varsity work, having to play rugby, and then all like the kind of extras that come with leadership?
Jeez, it was a stress. I think everyone can say unless you weren't studying properly. I mean, I wasn't studying completely. I was finishing up my studies, so I wasn't stressing that much compared to the other guys. Other guys are writing exams in the bubble and stuff. It's definitely a step up from general student athlete life, like from the previous years where you go to campus in the day and then you train in the evening. Like it's more intense because you can't really escape it. There's no escape. Like you can't even go for a walk outside or anything. Like you locked in the res area. So yeah, it was tough, but like you adapt quickly. Like it's amazing how people adapt. Looking from preseason, like we were wondering like how we're going to play 3 games and study and do everything. And then like the first bubble came and it wasn't that bad. Like some gents struggled with academically, but like they picked it up now post Varsity Cup. So like I think Oaks advantage. And yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you put your mind towards things and use your time efficiently.
Yeah, time management. One of the overriding themes of you that I saw, or like in the news or whatever, was your leadership, and something that Tom's raved about as well with you is your leadership. How would you kind of classify your leadership style? And do you think like leadership's always been part of the Liam Greenhalgh mold, or is it something you've had to learn over the years?
Personally, I've gone to workshops and stuff while I've been at UCT through the management, and some guys are quite good with the sports psychology and everything. But personally, I'll be honest, I've never actually backed myself to be a leader. I've just always done my own thing. Growing up at Rondebosch, I was never captain in the age group. It was always Jamie King. And then all of a sudden in first team level in matric, the head coach announced me as captain. I was like, sorry? Why? I'm going to be teaching now. Christ. But yeah, it was new to me in matric, and then I kind of just realized that coaching in matric just gave me a bit of confidence and in what I was doing, and the guys were actually following me, and I didn't realize. So then I just took that into first and second year at UCT, and Tom Dawson-Scribb also made me captain in first and second year, and I just went with it and just backed myself. I think you can classify me as a standard lead by example. I'm not going to give you an amazing motivational speech. It's not my strength. But for me, I like to know all the players individually. I have empathy. And I just genuinely care about everyone's well-being around the camp. So I'm gonna try to do my best on the field, and then off the field, I'm just gonna take interest in everyone around me, and I just want to make everyone better. That's kind of my thing. And yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a cool approach to it. Was there much of that motivational stuff like before a game, like for instance before the Marty's game, the first game? Was it a lot of like motivational, let's go, or like what kind of was the feeling like in the dressing room before?
When it comes to the hectic, deep-rooted motivational stuff, that's Tom's strength. So Tom would have a nice chat to us before we went out in the warm-up. And then also there was a really, really, really strong leadership group. I think that's also helped us in the past 2 years around me. So if I wasn't feeling it on the day, I'll just give a bum tap to someone and be like, are you fine to take this game? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Or they'll tap me on the back and be like, yeah, I've got something lekker to say to the gents to get them pumped before the game, because you've got to have words before the kickoff. You've got to have Oaks amped and ready to make that first hit, that first tackle, and that first carry. So it wasn't really emotional. It was more just like to psych you up. Like the players would do more the psyching, Tom would do more of the motivational stuff, the deep-rooted stuff.
Okay, cool. Now, looking back now and looking at your campaign, can you identify maybe a moment or a few moments where you had to kind of like step in as a leader and like take control, or for instance, say if you had to like, I don't know how the whole, when you have to speak to the ref or whatever, but like kind of a moment or two where you were like, this is where I'm going to earn my stripes as a leader.
Well, I think where I had to step up personally and where there was a lot of pressure is just in those tight games. So at the end of Bubble 1, we played UJ, and we put in like a whole different team. So there wasn't a lot of synergy and cohesiveness. So we actually kind of struggled in the beginning. They were leading most of the game, and then like I had to step up in terms of just leading the gents from a tactical and physicality point of view. Like we're doing some things a bit wrong in terms of our cohesiveness. So I just had to chat like 3 simple things to the gents now and then, and just reiterate, just so guys would adapt in the game. And similar things had to happen against UWC with the tight game there. We only won by 3 points, like 58-55, I think. So we had to like change our mindset tactically, because going into the game, we had a plan, and then they show something else. So we have to adapt, and that's where like the leaders have to step up, like myself. And then also I think in the first Eagles game, when we were down in the beginning, and also in the semi-final and the final, like whenever we were down, I had to step up and just talk sense to the gents. My main thing was just keeping calm, because it's so easy to panic. Doesn't matter if you've got world-class experience. If you're in that setup, in that position, it's easy to panic. So my thing was just keeping calm the whole time, no matter what was happening. And I think that's positively affected us. Like in the final, like we were down quite a bit, and then we managed to score a few quick tries towards the end. And if we had a bit more time, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah. I think like, now that you're able to look back and kind of, you probably wouldn't have analyzed it, but in the final, what do you think went wrong in terms of like you hadn't lost a game leading up, and you almost looked like you guys nailed everything in the lead up, and then in the final, just what do you kind of think went wrong?
Jeez, there's a lot of things that could have gone wrong that I think didn't. But, I think a few things did go wrong and not go our way. There's so many things. I'll be honest, I haven't actually watched the whole game back. It's a bit too painful to watch it.
It must be tough to watch back.
Still precious. I think I've watched half a game. But I've had a chat to a few of the guys and Tom, and like there's a few things that we do differently. I think the first one is not to play injured players, because through the bubble, the game's been so close together. We've had some niggles, but like we didn't want to compromise in cohesiveness. So that's why we went with that decision. But I think maybe in a different opportunity we would have done it differently. I thought we didn't adapt to their kicking fast enough, like in their physicality. Like in the second half, we matched them physically, and we changed our kicking approach. We didn't give them the ball; we just ran it, and they gave us a few more points. So I think if we adapted a bit faster, I think it would have been a bit different.
Yeah, it's quite interesting about that kicking, because I remember watching the first half, and they just were launching up and unders. Every like what's it? Their fullback was just kicking so well, and I was like, shit, this is not good. But in the final, every 20 minutes is a strat break or something, and the last one, did you guys feel like something special like could be happening here, like what is it, 2014, where the whole thing happened? Yeah. Was there like, whoa, are we gonna celebrate tonight? Like, is something special gonna happen? And what was kind of said in that last 20-minute strat break?
I think in every game when we were down, we always had this. We never ever panicked. Like we always had this low low-key confidence that we were always going to take it in every game. It just didn't happen in the final. So in that last chatback, we definitely had the confidence, and we just wanted to stick to what we've always been doing throughout the whole competition. So we always had the confidence. We were never panicking. But we just need to light that fire kicker up our butts and just to get going and just to take the game to them, which I thought we did, but just obviously ran out of time.
Yeah, and what was kind of said in that strat break?
Jeez,
Can't remember.
Bit of profanity from our side, probably. I haven't gone there in the video analysis yet, but I can guarantee that there was a bit of profanity from our side, so apologies. No, I think we just made a few adjustments to what we do. We didn't really chat that much. We chat as a team and then forwards and backs and just adjust our game plan because our lineups weren't going that well. So I think we had to adjust that. Just small messages and then obviously just the general morale and keeping the boys hyped to finish strong.
I know this wasn't in the contents, but I think I'll just ask it anyway. What do you think? What's the one thing that stands out or stood out for you in the varsity, in the whole campaign, maybe on and off the field?
From a team perspective?
Yeah, or just anything that really, within that perspective, in that setup, something that just stood out for you.
For me, it was just how there's zero hierarchy. There was zero hierarchy in our camp. Like, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, how old you are, how young you are. Like, everyone had mutual respect. Like, it was unbelievable. Just to be in a setup like that where everyone's opinion matters. The day before the final, Tom sat us down, and he wanted everyone to say a reason why they think they're champion, and every single stood up, and like every single person was respected when they spoke. Everyone's opinion was valued. And like for that, it might seem soppy, but like it actually means a lot within the camp and gets you so incredibly tight. So the fact that there's zero hierarchy is unreal. Like in the leadership group, we also have like second years and first years. So like it just shows you like it doesn't matter how old you are, and the fact that there's no hierarchy means you can play solidly together.
Yeah, I love that. How many guys are staying over, or how many guys have left the UCT group now? Do you know?
Quite a few. I don't actually know the exact numbers, but it's definitely more than last year. Last year we had a lot of continuity coming into this year because we only lost like 3 or 4 players, like obviously the seniors. And this year we've lost I think 6 off the top of my head, 7 maybe. But obviously the recruiting's in full swing at the moment. Some folks that are on the fence. If you're at UCT and if you're on the fence, you're doing another year. If you have to have a solid plan afterwards, otherwise you're doing another one.
How do you reflect on your Varsity Cup campaign for Ikes and for yourself? And I think like at a macro, how do you reflect on your time at the UCT Rugby Club, and maybe what does the institution mean to you?
Jeez. So for the first part there. The Varsity Cup campaign was definitely the best experience of my life, rugby-wise, besides winning the University World a cup in Japan in 2019. That was pretty sick. But I think from a rugby quality and learning the most and developing as a player, like this was definitely by far the best experience. Just felt so professional in everything we did, and like as a player, I've never grown so much off the field. To be honest, like I've learned so much working with people like Robbie Fleck, like the man's a flipping rugby genius. Like he sees things that just no one else sees in a rugby field. So for that, I've learned so much, and like just bonding with the guys as well. Like I feel like I made genuine connections there with gents that I can chat about in 30 years' time over a beer, and I can't wait for that. It's like the first thing I think about when after leaving now. It's just connecting with guys again and just chatting about it and reminiscing. And that links to my entire experience at UCT. Like it's just been a life-changing 6 years for me. Like I've been there since first year, and I've gotten like world-class degrees. I've got an undergraduate, I've got a postgrad diploma, I've got a BCom honors, and now I've got an opportunity to study in Scotland. So like it's the opportunities I've gotten from UCT are just unimaginable, and I couldn't be any more grateful and just happy to have gotten the chance and the nod in the beginning. So yeah, and it's because of a lot of people that have gotten me through the 6 years, and it's supported me, and it's been unbelievable. So like I couldn't recommend it more to anyone, any semi-professional rugby player, like a rugby player that just wants to have fun, a professional athlete that wants to go all the way. Like it's literally unbelievable.
Mm. What do you think of Varsity Cup as like guys using it as a stepping stone to go to like pro rugby? Do you think it's like it's a good route?
Yeah, I think it's the best. I remember hearing about it in like grade 10 and 11. It's like you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a world class degree and you're playing like the highest amateur rugby you can in South Africa. And like we won the World University Cup in 2019, and like we went the best team around then. So like it just shows you like the level of what university rugby in South Africa is incredible. So it's an incredible platform. There's so many boxes being made. There's so many gents that are overseas playing Premiership rugby have played Varsity Cup. So like it just shows like how powerful this platform is, and like if you get a chance, you must try and stick to it and work hard.
I also think like it'll teach you professionalism straight up. You know, like you have to learn how to manage your time, and
100%.
yeah, no, that's crazy. And I think the last question was like, what's next for you in your rugby journey and all that. But I think, you know, you made it clear on your rugby journey. But I think, you know, what's next for you? Like what, in an ideal world, what would we see Liam Greenhalgh doing in the next maybe 5 years?
Jeez, next 5 years, probably have taken part in a Rugby World Cup for Spain, 2023 baby.
Let's go.
Around the corner, so got to dream big. But I would like to definitely play rugby as long as the body holds. If I can play semi-professional in Spain or in France or in the UK, I'm going for that. Yeah. But I also want to like keep going with my career at the same time, make sure I'm sorted for afterwards.
That's awesome. Liam, bro, thanks so much. I really I've genuinely sat here and like been so interested and like couldn't wait for the next word to come out of your mouth. So I really appreciate you taking time, and I know you're leaving soon. And Cape Town's a poorer place for it, so we're going to miss you this side. But all the best for Scotland, and I hope you see some sun next year. But thanks again. I really appreciate it, bro.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Hey? You're the first and last person that's ever going to enjoy my chat. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here.
No, he's just a humble guy. That's why, bro. Lekker. Shot, bro.